Welcome into Locked On Phillies. I'm officially, for the second time this season, starting to get really nervous about the Philadelphia Phillies. They're not in a good spot right now. We will discuss how they could potentially pull out of it tonight in today's Locked On Phillies.
You are Locked On Phillies, your daily Philadelphia Phillies podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, this is Locked On Phillies. I'm your host, Connor Thomas. The Phillies are in a tailspin, which is absolutely fun and very delightful. You love the September collapse. Let's get this out of the way first. Thank you for making Locked On Phillies your first listen every day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcasts. Okay. I'm at a loss for words. I'm really at a loss for words with how the Philadelphia Phillies are playing lately. They go out last night in a game that you have an opportunity to win against a beatable opponent in the Toronto Blue Jays. They're good. They're a good opponent. But yeah, you have a pitching matchup that Ross Stripling's good, but he's not like all that good. And Kyle Gibson is good, but he's not all that good. It kind of breaks even on the pitching matchup. And you might have the better lineup. And I read you through the stats on yesterday's episode that your lineup had hit Ross Stripling better historically than their lineup had hit Gibson better historically. And then you go out and get absolutely smoked. The Phillies lose 18-11. 18-11, folks. That's the effort they put up with playoffs on the line. It was terrible. An absolute dog water effort by the Philadelphia Phillies. I'd like to say other words, but I can't because I'm trying. This is a family program. Can't be doing that, even though the Phillies make me want to say those words sometimes. Like, listen to this by Kyle Gibson. 5 innings pitched, 7 earned runs, 3 Ks, 1 walk. The Phillies gave up 21 hits. They gave up 18 runs. I'm going to do some quick math here for just how bad of a pitching and defensive effort that was by the Philadelphia Phillies. 18 runs is ridiculous. That's terrible. Let's go 5 plus 4 is 9 plus 7 is 16. They gave up more runs to the Toronto Blue Jays in one game than they gave up to the Atlanta Braves in the whole 3-game series down in Atlanta, and they lost all those games. The Phillies have now lost 5 straight. They're in danger of losing 6 straight because they got to play those Blue Jays again, and that's going to be a tough bounce-back game tonight at Citizens Bank Park. We'll discuss that coming up. But, man, am I nervous about the Philadelphia Phillies. They came out and got smoked right off the bat. They looked like they had absolutely nothing going. I don't care that they put up 11 of their own runs. I really don't because, frankly, you put up 11 and you still lose by 7. That's almost even worse. I'd almost rather them lose 7-0 than 18-11. Are you kidding me? How do you give – you know what that is? That's laying down and dying. That's not having the fight. And not by the offense, because there was a point where they made this game 7-4. There was a point where it was a 3-run game after giving up 7 runs early that the Phillies answered 4 unanswered runs. And then they had opportunity to get more in the same inning. They were going off against Ross Stripling before he got pulled and they went to the bullpen. But it's just, I don't get it. I don't get how a pitching staff and a bullpen can lay down and die like that. Your best pitcher was Garrett Stubbs, who came in relief in the 9th inning as the backup catcher. And it was only because he was throwing like 37 miles an hour and just lobbing the ball in there. It was embarrassing last night. And you know what? It looked early. One of the things that I noticed early at Citizens Bank Park, that park was empty last night. There might have been 10,000 people there, maybe. And I'm sure the attendance was listed as higher because they count sold tickets, but it was an embarrassing turnout for a team that's currently very much in playoff position. And you know why it was an embarrassing turnout? Don't blame the fans. Look at what this team does when they have opportunities. They absolutely lose their minds every time they get an opportunity to put themselves further up in the playoff race. There's one saving grace. The Milwaukee Brewers lost to the New York Mets last night. Shout out Francisco Lindor. Francisco Lindor was the best player for the Philadelphia Phillies yesterday because he had a go-ahead grand slam to bring the Mets back from being down against the Milwaukee Brewers to help the Mets win that game up there in Milwaukee. We need the Mets again. They're playing afternoon baseball, so we'll know ahead of time how the Mets did against the Brewers before the Phillies get off and running a 6:45 at Citizens Bank Park. But it's just, it was an embarrassing effort. Then there were some terrible mistakes, some defensive mistakes from Bryson Stott and Rhys Hoskins and Alec Boehm, Kyle Schwarber completely losing a ball somehow, like a fly ball right at him. It was sloppy. They looked like a AAA team last night, them being the Philadelphia Phillies. Certainly not the Toronto Blue Jays, who hung 18 up and took home their 84th win of the year, while the Phillies are still stuck in neutral at 80 wins. But it was a low-level effort last night, and the fans understand that this is what this team gives them in clutch situations. They don't show up. They don't finish seasons. They collapse in September. Why would you go to those games? I can't really blame any fans who don't want to trust this team right now, because I'm about as trusting of this Philadelphia Phillies roster and organization right now as anybody that follows them, watches them, is part of them. And even me, I'm sitting here like, what are we doing trusting this team? What have they shown us to make us believe that they're not going to collapse in September again? Oh, they won a couple series against the Nationals and Marlins. Yeah, those teams stink. You're going to have to beat an average baseball team again once in your life. And right now they seem incapable of doing it. And the Philadelphia Phillies are not earning a fan base right now. And God bless everyone who was there and stayed to the last pitch. I think it was a little bit annoying that you had people cheering Garrett Stubbs striking someone out while your team was getting absolutely smoked, mollywopped by giving up 18 runs. That was a little bush league to have people excited about Garrett Stubbs pitching, a position player pitching. I guess it's fun for people who go to the game and everything like that. You know what's fun to me? Not giving up 18 runs and winning a game when you have playoffs on the line. But I don't know, man. The fans are trying to make something out of nothing because the Phillies didn't give them anything worth cheering about. They scored some runs, hit a couple home runs. Kyle Schwarber hit his 40th last night. Cool. Whoop-de-doo. I don't care. Kyle Schwarber could hit 50. He could hit 10 the rest of the way and have one of the best home run seasons in Phillies history. But if they lose all those games, I don't care. Find a way to win baseball games. Find a way to clutch up down the stretch. Find a way to have your starting pitching not absolutely just soil themselves when they have an opportunity. I'm so upset with this organization, this team, and the effort they put in last night. Here's what I'll say. And I'm going to tell you why I feel this way coming up in the next segment as we preview tonight's game and get into everything there. This is the first time I think I've done this all year. It's the first time I've certainly done this in a while. And I've said things about series before. I've said things about matchups, like I feel this way or I feel that way. You know what? Maybe early in the season, like the Joe Girardi or the Rob Thompson time frame, I've said it before. But I'm going to do it right now. I'm going to guarantee that the Philadelphia Phillies win tonight. An absolute stone cold guarantee. Bet the house, bet the mortgage, take out a second mortgage and bet that too. The Philadelphia Phillies are winning tonight. Zach Wheeler comes back. Dollar Dog Night will force some people to go to the park. And even though it'll be artificially created crowd excitement because they're selling hot dogs for $1, not because the team deserves a big turnout after what they did last night, there's still going to be people in the yard. It's going to be popping around. It's a nice night already in Philadelphia. I know a lot of people are going down to the park for the final Dollar Dog Night. Zach Wheeler starting. He's going to have that adrenaline, and you're going to get that adrenaline from the team knowing that their ace is back. Even though Aaron Nola hasn't been bad in September, he's actually been their best pitcher since September has come along, talking about their starting rotation. But Zach Wheeler still is very much the ace. He's the better pitcher of the two, even though they're both really, really, really good pitchers. You got him back going. You got Syndergaard throwing in long relief, which is better than some of the guys out of the bullpen have been lately. This is a absolute lock win for the Philadelphia Phillies tonight because it has to be. I wish it didn't have to be, but they can't afford to not split against Toronto, especially going into 4 games with the Atlanta Braves. They have to win tonight. I think they do. I'll tell you exactly why coming up next as we dive into a little bit more detail on why I feel that way in a preview of tonight's game against the Blue Jays. All right, summer's winding down. The nights are getting longer, especially when the Phillies lose. But the breeze isn't the only thing that's getting stiff. That's right. This episode is sponsored by Blue Chew. Guys, we all know that confidence can take you far in life. It can turn a not good baseball team into a great one. not having confidence can turn a really good baseball team into one that gives up 18 runs and gets scored on left and right. If you want to score left and right, well, it's especially true that you have confidence in the bedroom, especially when it's time to step up to the plate. That's where Blue Chew comes in. Blue Chew is a unique online service that delivers the same active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis, but in chewable tablets and at a fraction of the cost. You can take them anytime, day or night, so you can plan ahead or be ready whenever an opportunity arises. The process is simple. Sign up at bluechew.com, consult with one of their licensed medical providers, and once you're approved, you'll receive your prescription within days. The best part, it's all done online, so no visits to the doctor's office. You don't have to go through any awkward conversations, no waiting in line at the pharmacy. Blue Chew's tablets are made in the USA and prepared and shipped direct to your door in a discreet package. Listen, the Phillies, you don't want them to be the only ones choking in September. Oh, all right, a little too far there, maybe. No, Blue Chew will help you accomplish whatever you want to accomplish in the bedroom, though. So go ahead and check out Blue Chew's chewable tablets. They'll get them sent right to your door and help you out with any issues that you're having there, so you can have the confidence back in the bedroom. So if you could benefit from that extra confidence, definitely check it out. And use our promo code Locked On at checkout. You just pay $5 for shipping. You can try Blue Chew free outside of that $5 shipping charge. You just have to use, again, promo code Locked On to receive your first month free. So visit bluechew.com. That's bluechew.com. Okay, let me break down a little further why I think the Philadelphia Phillies are going to beat the Toronto Blue Jays tonight. No, not just think, guarantee it. You're getting my lock, the CT lock of the week, that the Philadelphia Phillies are going to win. First of all, according to the ESPN analytics, they're listed as having a 56.2% chance to win over the Blue Jays, 43.8% chance that the Blue Jays win. They face Kevin Gausman, who's a hard-throwing right-handed pitcher, 3.45 ERA, 1.24 WHIP, 159 in the third innings pitch. He's given up 173 hits in those 159 in the third innings. He's K'd 186. So he's going to attack the zone. He's not going to walk many. He's only walked 25 batters in those innings. And he's only given up 14 home runs, which is not too many. But you're able to string hits against him because he attacks the zone so much. The Phillies need to be aggressive, and that plays more to the strong suit of some of their players than kind of working out walks. The only guys who really see that many pitches are Schwarber and Hoskins. But for guys like Segura, who like to go after the first pitch, for guys like JT Realmuto, who like to hit early in the count, for guys like Bryce Harper, who like to hit early in the count, and he can see pitches too because he's an incredible player at the dish. Needs to be much better on the bases, though. A terrible mistake last night, and he's been bad on the bases since coming back from his hand injury, his finger injury. Still, though, this plays kind of more towards what the Phillies look to do at the plate than not, with a guy who's going to attack the zone. You love that. You got a chance to go do that. Zach Wheeler takes the mound for the Phillies, and if you've forgotten his stats while he's been on the injured list, he's 11-7 this year with a 3.07 ERA, a 1.08 WHIP, and 138 innings pitched even. He struck out 148. So strikeouts will abound tonight. He's only given up 12 home runs in those 138 innings. He's only walked 33, which is respectable. That's why his whip is just slightly over 1. Basically, he's given up a runner an inning. Gausman is giving up 1.25 runners an inning. So a talented pitching matchup. Gausman's not a bad pitcher. And the way the Phillies lineup's been playing lately, he could easily shut them down. But I think they had a little bit of a breakthrough last night at the plate, even though those 10 runs, or the 11 runs they scored rather, didn't really seem like they mattered. They all came when they were down significantly in the game. I still think it mentally cleared some stuff up for the position players a little bit. Last night was on the defense and the pitching. Now, I mean, yeah, you score 11 runs, you should win those games a billion times out of a billion. But they didn't last night because the bullpen blew up and the starter didn't get the job done. Kyle Gibson was terrible. And the defense didn't really help him out much at all. So, but maybe there's a little bit of confidence there for the position players to get that all squared away. Now, I haven't seen a lineup yet, but right-handed pitchers, I've always said that the Philadelphia Phillies line up better against right-handed pitchers than they do left-handed pitchers. No, I'm kidding. It's the opposite. But why do I think they're beating Gausman tonight? Well, because Nick Castellanos is out, which opens up the opportunity for you to play Nick Maton, a left-handed bat. It opens up the opportunity for you to play Brandon Marsh in center. Now, we'll see. Brandon Marsh left the game with an ankle injury last night. We'll see how that plays out. I'd be surprised if he was out in center field tonight. I think you're probably going to see an outfield that'll be Matt Bierling in center, Nick Maton in right field, Kyle Schwarber in left, which not a great defensive outfield. Scares me a little bit considering you got guys like George Springer and Vladimir Guerrero Jr. and Alejandro Kirk and Matt Chapman. And I'm forgetting someone, not Teoscar Hernandez. And Bo Bichette over there that are going to hit the ball all over the park. But hey, you got to do what you got to do. Hopefully Brandon Marsh is just a minor injury. Maybe he'll even play tonight. Still looking to see some news from Rob Thompson on that. But the reason I think the Philadelphia Phillies win tonight is this has gone too far and they care too much about this game. Let me read you the wild card standings. Shout out the Mets for winning yesterday and keeping the Brewers at bay. But here's what it looks like for the Phillies, right? They've been slowly leaking oil. They're 80-67. They're only 2.5 games up on Milwaukee. Now a game and a half down on San Diego, who won yesterday and are in the second wild card spot. That's how that plays out. Now, the Toronto Blue Jays, well, they're 2.5 games up on the Tampa Bay Rays. I almost said Devil Rays. It's been like a decade. The Tampa Bay Rays and the Blue Jays win yesterday, obviously, over the Phillies. They're 84-64. They're also another half game up on the Seattle Mariners, and they're 7.5 games up on the Baltimore Orioles. They're basically locked into playoff position. They're going to be able to clinch potentially by the end of this week, depending on what goes on with Baltimore. And I guess the White Sox are kind of right in there too. The White Sox 5.5 games back of Seattle for that final spot, only a half game below the Orioles. But if those two teams lose a couple games and the Blue Jays finished out their next series strong, they could be basically settled in by the end of this week. A lot more to play for the Philadelphia Phillies. And the Blue Jays, I'm just going to take a look at what their record has been over the last couple games. The Blue Jays have won 3 of their last 5, including 2 against Baltimore to extend that lead. The Phillies have lost all 5 of their last 5 games. There's more urgency for the Philadelphia Phillies side. They're a talented team. They're playing at home. There's a lot of urgency. They just got smoked the night before. Normally, when you see a team hang 18, it turns into like the come down effect, the trap game after that. You hang 18 and then you have a sleepwalk night after. It's hard to continue to put those games together, and they're not going to score 18 again tonight. But all of this just leads into, I think the Phillies win tonight. I really do. I don't know what Zach Wheeler looks like coming off the injury. I don't know how long he throws. I think the goal is to get him 3 or 4 innings, which if you can get to the 3rd or 4th inning with no runs given up, you're in way better shape. You're 7 runs ahead of the trend that you had last night where you were down 7-0 by that point. And Noah Syndergaard, for his struggles as a starter, he's solid enough that out of the pen, giving you 3 innings, I trust him to do that. So it's a good setup for how you're attacking them pitching-wise. It's nice to be able to switch those guys and give a different look. Syndergaard, less of a power pitcher now. Wheeler, absolutely a power pitcher, so that could mess with them too. You don't have to worry about the 3rd time through the lineup or whatever happens as long as Wheeler doesn't get shelled. And all of it, to me, it just points towards the Philadelphia Phillies win tonight. And I already gave you the CT guarantee. Lock it in. I think it's absolutely a win. Now, coming up as we round out today's Locked On Phillies, we're going to do a little bit of a discussion about, fan conduct down the stretch, and I'm going to make a plea. All right? It's not what it sounds. You don't have to be nice to people. This is Philadelphia. I don't really care about that. I'm not always nice to people when I go to games. I'll explain, though, because the team, they need a little bit more from us than what they're getting, even though we just spent a whole 20 minutes talking about their collapse. I'll discuss next on Locked On Phillies. Okay, I know this is a big ask. I know money is tight right now, inflation, gas prices, everything. I understand what's going on in our world. And I'm making this a serious topic because I mean this seriously. This baseball team needs us right now as fans of them. They need support. I know they haven't totally earned it. This is my plea on behalf of the Philadelphia Phillies, and I'll continue to make this plea until I see some kind of pop at the ballpark. But that place is empty. Last night, the Philadelphia Phillies played in front of basically nobody in a game that had huge determination on their standing in a playoff race. Tonight will be the same thing. They've got 4 more games against the Atlanta Braves, who you just played in a sold-out Truist Park. Now, the Atlanta Braves are defending World Series champions. They've already clinched a postseason berth. They're fighting for the division. Is it fair to compare the Philadelphia Phillies fan base to them after a decade-long playoff drought and numerous September collapses? No, it's not. But listen, supporting Philadelphia teams rather, it's not fair. We know this. How many terrible seasons have the Eagles had? And we keep coming back. How many awful seasons have the Flyers had? And they'll find a way to still sell season tickets. Now, this year, an exception, but even in years they've been bad in the past, they've filled up the Wells Fargo Center to play in front of big crowds for teams that didn't deserve it. I mean, Phillies teams have done this in the past. There have been years where the Phillies weren't supposed to be that good, and then you see talent, and you go out there despite what they've done in the past, and you get on the bandwagon. And this team, for whatever reason, they just haven't gotten you there. Well, it's because they're on one of the biggest playoff droughts in the history of the franchise, and I get that and everything. But sometimes what we can do is we can help a team overcome what they need to, instead of waiting around for them to do it and then us rewarding them for it. We do have effect on stuff. The Philadelphia fan base, maybe more than just about any other fan base outside of New York, Boston. I'll leave it to those two because those are the major Northeast fan base cities. Outside of those, and Washington to a much lesser extent, I guess, Baltimore, the good fan base kind of in that whole Northeast pocket. But the big three are New York, Boston, and Philly. The home field advantage, the home court advantage, the home ice advantage, whatever it is huge. And we can't afford with this Phillies team to wait around until they prove to us that they deserve it, because it might be too late and we might have been able to make a difference. I know it costs money to go to the stadium every night. I know not everyone has the ability to, the time, the funds, all of that. But if you do, if you're considering going to a Philadelphia Phillies game, going could make the difference. The crowd could make the difference. Think about how hard it is to play Atlanta at their place. Outside of that, you're as good as the Atlanta Braves at Citizens Bank Park this year. The setting makes such a difference. Think about how cool Citi Field looks right now with everything going on with the Mets. That ballpark's packed. You're not that much worse than those teams. You're in a different stratosphere, and you probably won't compete with them on the playoff level, but we need to do our part as the fan base to try and do what this team cannot, which is hold it together in September. Maybe, just maybe, a packed Citizens Bank Park can give this team confidence to do it. And I don't believe that it's going to happen. I don't believe the Citizens Bank Park is going to be packed down the stretch, regardless of how they play. And if they make it to the second round of the playoffs and get a home playoff game, yeah, I think that'll be busy. But still, I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't implore you to think about the effect that you could have by going down to the ballpark and supporting this team. They've got a chance still to get to 90 wins, an outside chance, because they'd have to win 10 of their last 12 games. But they have a real good chance to clear 85. They have a real good chance to make it in the playoffs still. This is a team that, while they might not seem like they deserve our support, if we give it to them, it could turn them into a team that does. That's my only ask. And hopefully a lot of people go out for Dollar Dog Night and it proves it tonight. A lock guarantee win, I'm telling you. I really hope that plays out. No, it's going to. They're going to win tonight. And then you get the Braves, and an easier series against Washington and the Cubs. Things can still very much fall their way. Just think about that when you're thinking whether or not you should go to the yard. Now, that's all the time I've got for today's Locked On Phillies. Hopefully tomorrow's episode is a lot more fun, and we're talking about a win. I'm saying I told you so, and locked, and we're looking forward to a Braves series with 4 games at Citizens Bank Park that maybe the Phillies can steal a couple of. Hopefully that's how it plays out, but we'll have to wait till tomorrow to find out. That's all my time for today's Locked On Phillies. I want to thank you for making Locked On Phillies your first listen every day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcasts. Make your second listen Locked On MLB. Paul Francis Sullivan, Sully, does a great job covering baseball all over the league. To go ahead and check the majors out, see what's going on. Aaron Judge hit his 60th last night. Pujols still chasing 700. A lot of stuff going on. Check out Paul Francis Sullivan's work on Locked On MLB to keep track of all of it. And I will talk to you all, hopefully after a Phillies win tomorrow.